Good evening. Hi, Bug family. Good evening to all of you. Hello. Hi, guys. This is Hetal Rawal, your host and host from Naari. Yes, it's a Wednesday and we are here with another charming lady and we'll be taking her on board in some minutes. How are you all doing? I'm sure some of you must be traveling. Some of you must be returning home. Today we have a guest. Her name is Shona Prabhu. She's founder of NutrifyMyDiet. She's had a work experience of more than 11 years into sports nutrition as well as wellness. She happens to be coaching a lot of athletes as well as people who are sports celebrities in the segment of nutrition. Clients like Delhi Capitals IPL season, she has coached them. National men's and women's hockey team. 2017, they were representing at Tokyo Olympics. You know who coached them? Shona. Again, Shona. Yes. This is the lady who's done her master's degrees in sports and education and exercise nutrition from Lourberg University, and I can't wait to get her on board. So let me send her a request and get her on board. Hello, hello.
Hi,
Hi, Shona. How are you doing? Good to see
I'm
you.
good, thank you. Yeah, same here. Hi,
It's so
Hetal.
lovely to have you. One moment. Let me adjust my camera because I was going a
Okay.
little on this thing. Yeah, I think this is better. All right. So,
One thing though, I
Shona,
can't see you.
how is it? Really? Again? Can we refresh it and see?
Okay, by refresh as in you want me to join again?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Probably your connectivity is great.
Yeah, my connectivity is good.
Okay, you have a Wi-Fi on you?
Yes.
All right. Just come to a network zone, probably that should be a little better. Because if you can't see me, that means the network at your end is thing. Let me
Yeah.
understand from the my guests around here who are there. Viewers, give me a heads up and a thumbs up if you can see both of us or just one of us. Some comment, please. Shona, in the meantime, I would request you to re-log in. You send me a
Okay, I'll
request.
do that.
Okay?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Give me a shout out. Somebody tell me. Hello. Shona was live just a minute back. Could you see her? Did you see her, guys? I need some response, some love. Did you see her? Attempt number 2. Keeping my fingers crossed. Yes, Shona. Welcome back. Can you see me?
No, I don't see you again. But when I looked at the last live, I could see you on that, but I can't see you in when it's actually live.
Okay. Let's figure this out. Are you on a mobile or you're on a laptop?
I'm on my mobile.
Okay.
So
Then
this hasn't
we'll
happened before to me, so I really don't know how to. uh, It was
now
okay
we
when I
have
did
to.
the trial.
It was okay when you had the trial.
Yeah.
Oh, so unfortunate. Anyway, Shona, we are kind of live right now.
Okay.
So let's go by our auditory senses. Whatever I talk, you will have to look at the black screen and feel as if you are talking to me. Okay?
I,
I
I'm
can
used to that. I'm used to that because when we do a lot of these webinars online, no one turns on their cameras anymore. So I'm perfectly comfortable. That's fine.
You have a dazzling smile, and I really wanted to see the energy that I am having to getting to talk to you. The subject that you belong to is sports, is lifestyle, is wellness, is giving a lot of nutrition advice to people. And guess what? 2024 is creators market. It is a lifestyle market. People want to look good and beautiful and be fit. And India is becoming, Bharat is becoming, for that matter, very competitive in the space of sports as well. 2026 or 2028, we're going to have Olympics also happening. So, lady, over to you, Shona. Let me know what has been your journey. Slightly explain about yourself as a family person and how your journey has been even personally. So, my sports aspirants who want to become the next Shona can learn from you.
All right. Yeah. So, for me, the journey in nutrition really started when I visited the US on a trip. So I was just 12 that time, but my parents sent me on a holiday alone because I had some family. And for me, it was not the malls or the amusement parks that really caught my interest, but it was the grocery stores. Okay, because they were huge. I'd never seen something like that. And more importantly, there were just so many different options to choose from. Like that was what sort of sparked an interest. But more interestingly, like conversations around food also were very different compared to what we would, talk at home. So that was what sparked it. But then, when I was looking at actually taking a professional course, I don't think nutrition was the first thing that came to my mind. I was interested in food, and cooking and, stuff like that. But I didn't really think I would study it. So I happened to chance on a course that had nutrition as part of it. And I studied it for like 5 years and did my specialization in sports nutrition. I did the specialization because I used to play some professional badminton as well. So I wanted to explore that side of, nutrition. And it was a very niche area, right, at that point, but I wanted to do something different. So I got my degree from Loughborough University, and I started working. I came back to India because, again, I wanted to do something with Indian athletes and work in this environment. And
Wow.
and that brought me back here, and I hated the weather in London. So another reason.
Like you mentioned, in your generation, very few people have this kind of segment to get into. How many
Yeah.
women in that segment? I am just inquisitive to know. During your
Well,
time, how many women were getting in this space?
Well, very few at that point, but now there are many, and actually India is a very female dominated nutrition sector.
Oh, yeah.
You'd hardly find, male nutritionists in India, though the first company I worked with was led by a male. There are very few male nutritionists because I don't think it's still considered like a great job to have, or it's associated more with just cooking and something that only women should do. So so there are a lot of female nutritionists now in India, and like if you just go to nutrition classes, you'll hardly find like 2 male students compared to maybe like 60 or 80 females. So
Yeah,
that's the ratio.
yeah, yeah. But we also have a lot of celebrity ones who are like Luke and all, who advise Karishma, and Kareena Kapoor and
Yeah,
all of them. So
yeah,
yes, it is very much women-oriented one. I do see a lot of nutritionists in that segment being, gender heavy, though we are trying to neutralize as much as we can.
yes.
Okay, the sports angle, you've been doing so in your early years as a badminton player, and all of it. Shall we understand from you, when did the hockey academy coaching happen, and when did the IPL happen? I mean, like, this is like feathers on the cap, girl. I mean, this is amazing, and you look super young. How did this amazing stuff happen?
Well, so, hockey, I think both these breaks that I got happened almost a decade into my career. Not with the IPL, yes, a decade, but with hockey, it was a good like 7 years that I was already, practicing and sort of gaining that experience and credibility in my field. And it happened through, then just sometimes things happen when you're just interacting with the right people, the right mindset, and that sort of came about. So I got, a call to sort of see if I wanted to work with the team and how that would be. And yeah, the lucky for me, it was like hockey is based in Bangalore, their main camp. And there was a metro line, which made things a lot easier for me. But that's when hockey happened. So it was a big break for me, and I really wanted to work with the team because till then I had just one-on-one experience. Working with athletes, helping people with their wellness goals and all of that. So for me, this was like a real opportunity, and it was great working with the team. So that happened about 2017, and I worked with them until the Tokyo Olympics. With both the men's and women's, and Delhi Capitals, the IPL team happened more recently in 2021. So that was sort of marking a decade of my expertise in the field.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was special as well.
This is fantastic to know. So nutrition has got a lot of factors which are physically inclined and mentally inclined. Now, you already mentioned that doing 1:1 with a customer and a client and doing it vis-a-vis an entire team of hockey. Can you go dive deep down, dig more and let us know that how is the stamina of everybody, keeping everybody mentally equipped and getting their nutrition on the same pace so that stamina at the same time of competition of 10
Yes.
people, 20 people, players. I mean, it's quite intriguing.
Yeah, well, the good part is when you're working with teams and athletes, they're already motivated, right? So half my role is already done there. When we work with non-athletes, a lot about it is also, getting them motivated and doing all of those. So with athletes, they're already in that zone. It's just about nudging them and pushing them the right way. So when we work with teams, I mean, you have to give, there are some things that as a team, everyone has to do. It's about, like, say, eating before your matches, and those won't vary a lot. There may be some individual preferences, but then we spend a lot of time working with individuals, even in a team setup. It's not only general and team, but we work with a lot of individuals. We may handpick a few who need that extra attention and support. And it's very different. Like each individual in the team is different, right? So you have to really spend that time. You work with other experts in that environment, whether it's a strength and conditioning coach, whether it's even the mind coach, a sports psychologist, or the physio, and then take inputs and do your bit in that. So there is still individual work, a lot of that in a team sport, but you get to work with the team as well overall. So the individual experience I had before definitely helped me work with the team better.
Yeah, it looks to me extremely complex. Different body composition analysis of everyone, different physiotherapy needs of everyone, stamina levels are different, and still, giving them individual advice at the same time you're giving them holistic advice so that, they're all ready for the day when it is required. Couple of things. As a nutritionist, I believe you must be going very personal with your clients, right? In terms of getting to know everything, how they spend their day and all of it. Now, if I have to understand, COVID times were very scary for people. And after COVID, the change has come in every age group. What is your say for that? Because people started taking professional people like you, taking the advice, asking you very seriously. I'm sure there must be a huge boom to your industry. Am I right?
Yeah, well, for sure, it's definitely put the nutrition industry more on the spotlight because people understand it's part of the lifestyle change that they make that can help them with better health and all of it. But I think what's changed a lot is people are being more proactive about their health and not reactive like it was in the past. So what I mean by that is previously a blood report would be the trigger point. It still is now. It could be one of the triggers, but people are more proactive in the sense that they they don't want those, reports coming in. They want to be in charge of their health even before something could come up, possibly in the future. We get a lot of clients who are just looking to see if they're on the right track with respect to their food, because there's, Dr. Google that throws in so much information about what to eat, what not to eat, and all of that. So sometimes people are really overwhelmed with what they hear, and everyone's giving advice about what to eat and what not to eat during parties. I myself get it, so it doesn't spare me. So so I think, the thing that's really changed is people are proactive now.
I think during COVID, what really happened was suddenly there was a thing about superfoods. There was a thing about chia seeds and flax seeds and this and that, and people were literally googling up and finding out what's there, what's not there. So my next segment for you is let us know something more about nutrition by the way of what are superfoods. What is it exactly for even a nascent person who's going through this for them to understand? Is there something known as a magical food or a superfood? What is it?
Well, I think it's just I can't call it a fad, but just something to generate interest for people to get more, more intrigued about what that food is. So that's, I think, where the term was coined. But I don't think there's really one magical food or something that can really help. Okay, it's a mixture of different things. So today it would be, say, chia seeds, that is a superfood. Tomorrow it'll be millets, that's a superfood, or I mean, it is currently. But it's different foods that are revived over a period of time and things, and they just get the superfood tag. So when we practice, at least in my practice, I don't really have the concept of superfoods. There are foods that are good for you. There are foods that are bad for you. But I don't really put anything in the superfood category, because what you have to understand is everybody's needs are different.
Right.
For some, a superfood might be pomegranates, because they, want good antioxidant support. They want better heart health and all of it. For someone else, it could be something like, for an athlete, it could be sweet potatoes to really fuel them well. So the superfoods would differ for everybody, but I don't personally take that approach.
So you very rightly mentioned that people Google it up, and I do too. I confess, live right now we do too. But then we get so influenced. Trust me, it's really disturbing at times, because yes, you're right. Everybody's nutrition needs and body types are different. So the next segment is very interesting. I would like to know from you, millennials, Gen Y, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, and it goes on. So there are certain groups of age which are there, and there are certain typical nutritional needs for them in terms of slowing the age group, slowing the being more youthful, ensuring the diseases don't come in fast. So what are the things which typically are in our hands, which you would advise us that little bit of nutrition here and there could help?
Yeah, I think one advice is, which I don't see most people doing enough of, is just to eat more fruits and vegetables. Okay, because there's always like the big thing about, including more protein, going gluten-free. And there's a lot of talk around that, but just very simple things like for the Gen X, right? If you want to still look youthful, be, in good health, you've got to focus on eating like less processed food, including more fruits and vegetables. And here I would introduce some focus on protein, because you want to retain muscle mass, to be independent, to have good strength and all of that in the later years that follow. But with the younger generation, like I think I'm talking about Z, and you mentioned something like beta, or I don't know what beta is, but I'm guessing younger than that. It's very surprising that sometimes they don't even know where their fruit and vegetable is grown. They just say, like, when you ask them questions like, okay, where does milk come from? They'd say a packet, or your apple comes from Swiggy, Zomato. They really don't understand the concept of nature and food and how it grows. I think all of those are very important concepts that we need to understand, and imbibe at a very young age. So I think schools are making an effort in this regard because they do see the gap between how the younger generation looks at food and perceives food. Everything is just fast, quick. So um, people need to eat less processed, eat more healthy. I mean, right now we're um, in a what do you say? In an age where you have really the choice to make a healthy and an unhealthy option. It's as simple as a click of a button. You get groceries home, you can get food deliveries home, and that choice you make, it really depends. You can go either ways. You have both choices available, right? And which possibly only few had access to way back, or that's why for me it's just to keep food a little more real, eat more home cooked meals whenever you can, eat more fresh produce, and eat less from a packet and outside.
Okay, interesting. Now, there are professionals who are always on the go, and they might not get a choice to, have or carry their home food. What would be your advice? Because I see a lot of youngsters, simply taking a shake from here and there, a soy milk or probably a protein bar, and they just kind of, keep themselves a little easy, hydrated, or probably, the hunger pangs are kind of delayed for a couple of hours or so.
Yeah.
Is there a quick fix in a store somewhere or something?
Well, unfortunately, if you ask me, there's not enough of those options in stores, right? I always find it difficult, even myself, like walking into a store and trying to find something healthy to eat. There are limited options there, but what I, tell most of my clients is, getting healthy and making those healthy choices doesn't happen like on that moment or minute every time. It's about planning in advance. Okay. See, what I mean is, if you're like, especially like maybe women can relate to it more. Like if you haven't decided the previous night what you want to wear for, say, this important meeting, in the morning you're going to like pull out everything from your wardrobe, but finally you'll pick up what's the most easiest, right? Convenient, that you can just see. And these are things that you have to do, even if your food, if it's not planned well, then you are going to go for the most easy, convenient option, and that's most likely fast food and junk. But when it comes to choosing healthy, planning always helps. And then there are like picking up that protein bar, for instance, is not a bad option as opposed to like a bag of chips or something else that might fill you up. So it's important to look at it practically as well. Like I wouldn't like, even if they're having a shake or a protein bar, it's actually choosing something healthier, right? But now I'm seeing a lot of these popped potato chips, popped rice chips. There's makhanas. There's a lot of like these matris which are baked now, and they taste lovely. So there are a lot of
and lot of puffs, of various seeds. So we feel that okay, we are having something which is roasted, and which is nice. But I believe that isn't the case, is it?
I mean, it's better again. See, you just have to say, are you making a better choice than something that could have been worse? And if you cumulatively make these healthier choices, you will be on the right track. But what you also have to understand is sometimes just eating healthy or eating too much of healthy things can also be bad. Okay, just because something is healthier doesn't mean that you overdo it. Okay. That could also sort of backfire, but otherwise, like all of these other things are small steps towards making better choices.
Yeah, so true, so true. I'm so happy and glad that I'm having you in front of me and I'm getting to ask all the questions which probably my niece and nephews would have asked, I would have asked, or probably my friends have.
Shoot away, these are always fun.
One question comes always is a conflict between having fruits and to have them after sundowner. Is what's your take on it? I see a lot of people intermittent, and during
I just had a fruit before I logged on, and the sun has already set for me. So the thing is, if it doesn't really interfere with your digestion, or you don't feel bloated or uncomfortable after eating like a fruit at this point of time, I would say please include it rather than not include it.
Wow.
Okay, it's very interesting. Like sometimes when I ask my clients, because we've taken some bit of their food history beforehand, and I say, okay, don't you eat fruits, or is it something you don't like? The answer I get is I like them, but I don't know where to fit it in my schedule. Okay, so more than figuring out really which is the right time or wrong time, I'd say eat it. Okay, but definitely in between meals helps you to digest, or you'd be more comfortable eating the fruit rather eating it after a meal or after like especially in India, this is very common. You eat like dinner and then it's followed by an apple or a banana or some other fruit at home. That sometimes can make people uncomfortable, especially within the gut, and even if you have like sugar related issues or imbalances, it can spike up your sugar levels. So that's not the best time to eat fruit. There's lots of other time during the day, or especially before a workout session, where you can really take the benefit of that fruit.
Correct. Because I see a lot of people doing that because of the craving that they get in the evening, The day is done, we've gone to the gym, we've been in office, we've been stressed. So immediately after dinner, the first thing happens is, which is the fruit, which is there? Let's just sit and have.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a conscious decision we are not having sugar and sucrose, which is direct, but we are having it in the form of fruit. But so rightly mentioned by should be had, audience, please understand, you need to have it between the meals and incorporate fruits on a daily and a regular basis. That's required. This is the formula for it. Okay. If I have to understand some of the most brutal truth bombs, or probably if we have to bust some myths, could you just drop some truth bombs that, guys, it is not this, it is this? Because you must have come across a lot of not that educated, literally literate. They're Googlers and they're finding out stuff. So just bust some myths for us, Shona.
Sure. So I think one is, you don't have to go gluten-free to be healthy. So I keep hearing that this is across, ages, across athletes, non-athletes. So that's one. Like you can definitely eat wheat and still be healthy. There's just some things you look out for. Again, if you eat a wheat-based meal, whether it's roti or anything else like bread, and you suddenly feel discomfort in your stomach, like you feel less cramps, or you feel bloating, or your brain is not functioning well, like you feel foggy or you can't concentrate, then those are signs immediate signs that wheat might not be suiting you. Okay. The next thing is like egg yolks. A lot of people are scared to touch that egg yolk, or they feel it'll make them fat, and it'll just shoot their cholesterol levels through the roof, and they mostly discard it. But egg yolks are good for health, and at the same time I think people spend premiums buying brown eggs. Okay, but the truth is, I've spoken to so many people who have egg factories or other professionals, and the only difference between a brown egg and a white egg is literally the color of the hen. Okay, so it's a brown hen will give you a brown egg, and a white hen will give you a white egg. It's not very nutritionally different, but I think we're getting really ripped off by spending a lot more money on a brown egg. And I think what else do I here? I think like rice is better than wheat is better than rice to manage your sugar levels, and again,
bread, white bread, sugar, coconut sugar. Oh my God, it just goes on and on.
Thanks, you touched on that. Yeah. Jaggery is better than sugar, honey is better than sugar, but what ends up happening is, because jaggery doesn't have such a sweet profile as sugar does, they think 2 spoons of sugar, jaggery is okay, but it actually does the same thing in the body. So in terms of how sugar would react. So that's another big, truth bomb.
And stevia leaves, sugar made from stevia leaves and all that. All
Sorry,
of that
repeat that.
Well, stevia leaves, sugar.
No, stevia leaf is actually not that bad because it doesn't have calories, but most people don't really enjoy the taste of stevia because of the bad aftertaste. And you can't put as much as you would do, like you would use with sugar or jaggery. It has to be used in, lesser quantities. So, yeah, stevia is okay.
Okay, that's quite a bit of a deal, Shauna. You just got a lot of clarity to us, because I remember a lot of my family members, they put double the jaggery in the tea to make
Yeah,
them feel, because chai to fiki lagti hai. We don't enjoy it. Coffee, oh my
exactly.
God, I can't enjoy it once with it. I really need,
You know
some
what?
kind of.
Honestly, when I drink, I occasionally drink tea and coffee. So that's one thing about me. And I thank my mom for it, because she never introduced us to the concept of tea and coffee. And both my brother and me really never picked up the habit of drinking it till date. So the thing is um, with tea and coffee, it can become like really addictive, and people then just tend to add a lot more, sugar, jaggery, everything in it. So when I drink, whenever I enjoy that cup of tea or coffee, I just make sure I add a teaspoon of sugar, because I like the way it tastes with sugar. I don't want to do a half-hearted, cup of tea and coffee, which I don't relish. So what I would like to really tell the audience here is, if you're someone who's just drinking that 1 or 2 cups of chai or coffee and you like to sweeten it with natural sugar, there's absolutely no problem. It becomes a problem if you're someone who drinks 4 or 5 cups a day, or really unknowingly is adding a lot of sugar, likes it really sweet, because tea in India is very sweet. Then it becomes a problem. But otherwise, just enjoy your that little bit of sugar in your tea or coffee, because they don't do that. I'm sure you come across these people, Hetal, who don't use. They're very happy not to use that 1 teaspoon of sugar in their tea and coffee, but they'll eat like biscuits. They'll eat other sweets and
Yeah,
things which have actually more sugar in them,
yeah.
right? So we get a lot of those
Though
also.
you have though you have a black screen in front of you, but I am putting my finger ahead, and I confess that I'm a
Yeah,
stress binger. If there's
yeah,
lots of things happening, then you'll see me munching stuff. It's just so clear about it. So you rightly mentioned that people just pop some biscuits. They call it digestive biscuits. They just have it, through the day. You are skipping lunches and all of it. But this is supposed to be a very personally discussion about having a better lifestyle, and improvisation happens on a daily regular basis, and which is why you are the one to go to understand this. I want to little take it on a different tangent and a different track.
hmm
Nutrify My Diet, you've been there in the career. Nutrify My Diet, you are actually there for athletes, sports people, and all of it. It's been quite a time, and you've been achieving a lot, because in nutrition space, to guide people at national level, at international level, is commendable. So I would like to understand from you, what has been your biggest challenge in this journey, and how you could tell our fellow Bagnari members that how you overcome it. We would want to understand that. Any one challenge that you went through.
Yeah, okay. This is an interesting one. It was actually when I was working with the Delhi Capitals. So this was different for me, because I was, touring with the team, and again, you're working with, very high level, high professional and elite level cricketers that, are pretty much treated like God, right? So that is a different sort of challenge in itself. But when I joined the Delhi Capitals camp, that's when I found out that I was expecting my first child. So I got the news. I mean, I figured out myself, but that was a very unknown situation for me, right? It was my first pregnancy. I didn't know what to expect. And I was also in an environment which I haven't been before. So there were two very unknown factors, and then we were in like a bubble situation. So things were not accessible where I could just go and meet my gynecologist or discuss things with them. So for me, I think that was the most challenging, because when I was off the field, or when I was not in the ground, I would be like super dead. I didn't have the energy to do anything. Right? But very different when I was on the field. When I was on the field and interacting with players, I think there was just that adrenaline that was sort of kicking in, and I would give it my all, and I think I exhausted so much of my fuel that time that by the time I came up came into my room, it was I didn't have any energy left. But also, not just that, it was IPL is a different challenge in itself because it's a lot of late nights. So it's not like you are wrapped up in bed, by 11 o'clock in the night. You're in bed at 3 o'clock in the night. By the time everything's wrapped up, you've had something to eat, and even though you want to preach the right things about having early dinners, in that situation it's impossible. So you are eating at 1 a.m. in the night, and you have to be okay with it. So for me, there were like a lot of different like unknown factors, working with a new set of players I haven't met before. Like I said, elite players, touring different places, so you're not in one place. So I think for me, the way I handled that, also throwing the pregnancy bit in the picture, was something that I felt proud of myself at the end of it.
Yeah, you had a tiny life around with you all the time, encouraging you that yes, it is stressful, it is 1 a.m. in the night, you've not had food, but you're guiding people. I'm sure these athletes must be having a very stringent timetable and a schedule. And probably they'll be getting up early in the morning also, early risers for their fitness and all. Again, you would be on your toes, right? To guide them what needs to be done through the day and all.
Well, but in an IPL situation, no one gets up until 10 in the morning. So though we had late nights, no one would be up. So I didn't have that, I didn't have that bit where I had to be like, I think the initial week I was up like, by 8 o'clock and waiting, okay, who's going to, what do I have to do? Who do I have to cater to? And then I figured out like, after a week or so when the whole team was in that, it's a fruitless experience or effort actually, because no one shows up until like 12. So yeah,
Wow.
everyone starts off with a brunch. So that was a good side of the IPL.
Okay, interesting. So, in this particular profession, what are the strengths that anybody should have? I think resilience is something that you just said. Being very flexible is something that you've also mentioned and narrated through your story. What are other things that should be taken as traits which could be a strength area for anybody pursuing this line?
Yeah, I think having a good knowledge about local but also international cuisine, right? Because a lot of times when I'm speaking to younger nutritionists or I'm interviewing candidates to join the team, they have very less experience about foods that are outside. Sometimes they're even state, because India has enough and more diversity with food, but also international exposure to foods is very low. So I think that's a very important knowledge area to gain, because you need to understand what these players are, what they have access to when they're say possibly in Southeast Asia, when they're in Europe, when they're in different, like the Middle East. The foods would vary, and so that's important as a professional to really understand. And you've got to have like the patience to listen to the person who's telling you things, because if you may have a lot of knowledge that you want to share with the person, right? But if you don't listen to what they have to share with you, then you're missing very crucial points in the conversation. So whenever I meet people for the first time, my role is to listen. And sometimes when you have a listening ear, a lot of people's issues get solved, or they themselves can find answers when they're talking, but you have to give them that time to really talk it out or say what they have to. So I think these would be the other two. And and if you want to be a sports nutritionist, you got to know what it is like to do something, whether it's you train in a sport or you're active in the gym setting, or do some fitness for yourself. Otherwise, it's very difficult to put yourselves, in the shoes of an athlete and really understand where they're coming from. And it also gives the athletes more confidence to work with you when you can speak their lingo, or you can really relate and understand some things that they're saying because you've experienced it in some form. So I think these are three additional things I would add.
So rightly mentioned, and this is really delightful to know that sports nutritionist is not a easy job, and you just explained it, that how difficult it is. That's good to know. Let's understand the Naari inside you, the lady inside you, the boss lady inside you. So while we come closer to the concluding session, we call women who are working towards even being a homemaker, working towards nurturing the entire family and all. They are doing their job and their bit, right? Apart from the corporate women around. So we call them Shiro, hero. Okay. So how to be a hero like you, Shona? Your name is Shona, and you are a Shiro for us too. So we would want to understand from you that how to become a Shiro who's successful like you.
Well, just before I come to the Shiro part, like a lot of my clients hesitate to call me Shona because they call their loved one Shona, or there's someone like it's a it's something that is used in that. So when I introduce myself, the next question I get like, do you have a different name, or can I call you by something else? Because I call my wife or my girlfriend or my son. They find it very embarrassing sometimes to address me by my name. But anyway, coming to the Shiro part, I think it's important to, ask for help whenever it's necessary, because sometimes early on, maybe in my career or even as a person, I'd like to take on everything myself. And there's only so much you can do by yourself, right? And learn to delegate is also something that I've had to learn, and I have to really be conscious about it, because I'm someone who might just take on unnecessary things, but learning to delegate, learning to ask for help, these have really been, important in the journey that I've had. And I think when you lead by example, then it trickles down into the people who are working with you. So that's something like I sort of I'm clear about in my work I do, or whatever I represent. It needs to sort of be my true self. And it's important to take chances, right? Without thinking too much about the outcome every time. Like, I haven't always done something which has been associated with a monetary, benefit. I've done a lot of work just because I want to gain the experience. I want to know what it's like, because I think, at some point when you do really good work, money will follow. But when I've approached work, I haven't gone the other way around, right? So I think some of these things have, just helped me shape who I am today.
The foundation is very pure, Shona, and it's really commendable to know, because you actually summarized for us very clearly that seeking help from someone, being right there, having a principle to yourself, at the same time, ensuring that you can take a chance and put yourself first and take that leap of faith and perform yourself, is when everything will come to you, and it's not always monetary. It's towards reaching your mission and your goal, and money will follow. It has to follow if you're perfect and in your achievement towards success. Fantastic.
And one last thing which came to my mind is, you in today's day and age, you have to make an effort to put yourself out there, right? A lot of times I used to think, okay, why should I be active on Instagram? Like, I don't personally like it. Like, my personal page is very, very dull and boring. Okay, but so why should I be, doing talks? Why should I have a, Instagram page? And because all of this does take time and effort, right, to be out there. But if you want to be noticed, you have to do that, because otherwise, like, every new client we get, or a person mostly that hasn't come from word of mouth, has got contact because they've seen good reviews, they've seen your work, they've been out there, and everyone's Googling, right? So unless you have some information there, no one will really know who you are well. And I believe like if you do good work, you should flaunt it. I think that's something that has been told to me time and again, that you haven't really capitalized, or you haven't done enough to showcase what you've done in the sporting world. Maybe I didn't do it then because my thought process was different there, but now I understand how it's important to showcase things that you've done, because they will help you in the long run. And it's not about just showing off. That's not, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but it's just about making sure that people know what you're doing, the good work that you're doing, and don't shy away from doing that, which I have done in the past, but I don't think I would go that route in the future. So yeah, that was the last thing I wanted to add.
So true and right. Today's world is very visual. Gone are the days when people used to read and understand that somebody is so literate and expert in their field. I really appreciate when you mentioned that I'm ensuring that I'm changing myself from being an introvertish person to ensuring that people know what kind of work that I've been doing. Yes, experts should be there. They should come more and more often on platforms like us, and we would love to have you again and again, Shona, so that people get to understand what your industry is and how it could help people. So please keep doing that. Please ensure that your personal page is more exciting, and we come on that even more to interact with you. It was really lovely having you, Shona. Thank you so much. And one way of we concluding all our sessions is we say a Bakshiro salute to all the women. So I would want you also to have a good salute. So I know it's a blank screen, but here's a salute to you. Miss Shona Prabhu, you've been doing a good job. Please continue. And we would love to have you on board more often. Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
so much, Hetal. It was fun. And yeah, we'd, have a good evening, everyone. And I hope you took some things away which were, useful, but enjoyed doing the session with you, Hetal. Thanks.
Likewise. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.